The classroom was nearly empty, dust motes drifting through the golden afternoon light. I was sorting through a stack of essays when a soft knock interrupted the quiet. Jake stepped inside, hesitating like he wasn't sure this was a good idea. He had always seemed older than his years, confident, composed, the kind of student who lingered after class with thoughtful questions. But today, there was something different in his eyes. He asked if we could talk about something personal. I assumed it was related to a grade, maybe some trouble at home. He took a seat across from me, his voice low. "I think I'm in love with someone." I gave a small smile, expecting the confession of a harmless crush. But then he said it. "It's you." The room fell silent. 1,000 thoughts crashed into one another in my mind, but not one formed into words. He stood, stepped closer, not pressing, just present. "I know it's not right," he said. "But I see the way you look at me." I wanted to deny it, to tell him he was mistaken, misreading everything. But I couldn't because he hadn't. I turned away, walked to the window, searching for some clarity in my reflection. I was married. I was his teacher. This was madness. And yet, something deep within me stirred, something I hadn't felt in a very long time. He didn't push. He just said, "You deserve someone who really sees you." And then he left, like he knew he'd already said enough. That night, I lay in bed beside a man who hadn't touched me in months. Eric, my husband, snored softly in the other room, a stranger I had once loved. Jake's words echoed louder than the silence in my marriage. Over the next few days, Jake barely looked at me. It shouldn't have bothered me, but it did. I missed his gaze, the quiet attention, the unspoken electricity between us. Then Thursday came. He stayed after class again. No words this time, just a folded note placed gently on my desk before he walked out. A poem, raw, full of desire and restraint, unmistakably about me. I read it twice, then a third time. My hands trembled. I didn't throw it away. I hid it. I wanted it near me. That weekend, Eric left for a cabin trip with his brothers. The house was too quiet. My resolve cracked. I messaged Jake. He responded instantly. And then he showed up at my door, like he belonged there. I was in sweats and a tank top, telling myself this wasn't about seduction. But when I opened the door and saw how he looked at me, I knew. There would be no long conversations. Just a kiss. Soft. Searching. And I let it happen. We moved to the couch, heat rising with every breath we shared. He kissed me like he had dreamed of it. Touched me like he already knew every part of me. I was breathless, trembling. Not from nerves, but from the feeling of being wanted again. He made me feel seen. Alive. Desired. Later, we lay in the dark. His head rested on my chest, his skin warm against mine. "I don't regret this," he whispered. Neither did I. Everything shifted in the days that followed. I began dressing better, wearing perfume again. My coworkers noticed. Eric noticed too, but said nothing. At school, Jake and I kept our distance. But at night, we were ourselves. We met in parking lots, in quiet apartments, in the shadows of empty streets. He was graduating soon. I told myself it would end. But every time he touched me, it felt less like an ending and more like a beginning. I knew the risks, the rumors, the consequences. But for the first time in years, I wasn't just surviving, I was feeling. Jake made me laugh again. Made me feel human. Desired. Alive. I tried to picture walking away, but I couldn't. Not yet. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in the mirror and barely recognize myself, not with shame, but wonder. I was alive again. One night, we lay side by side in a motel room. He traced the curve of my shoulder with his fingertips. "You deserve more," he whispered. And I believed him. But I also knew this couldn't last. He would graduate, move on, and I would stay behind, older, married, living a life built on stability and silence. But Jake had given me something I didn't even realize I still needed. He had truly seen me. Even when it ended, as it inevitably would, it had already changed me. People say affairs are about what's missing, but sometimes they're about what you suddenly find. For one fleeting moment, in a world ruled by rules and routines, I was free, and I'll never forget what it felt like
To be seen.